This scenario is Invasion from the 2019 Steamroller packet. This scenario does have the Killbox Artifice in effect, and consists of 2 circular zones which can be controlled for 1 CP by warrior units, warcasters, and warlocks, 2 rectangular zones which can be controlled for 1 CP by warjacks, warbeasts, battle engines, and warcasters and warlocks, and 1 objective which can be destroyed or removed from play for 1 CP. Victory conditions consist of having 5 more control points than your opponent, or caster assassination.
Hello, my name is Anthony Minerva, and I am the Khador player. I'm playing Vlad 2 Armored Core today. So, my whole goal with my setup is to centralize my firepower. I put my shock troopers on my right for the top zone from this perspective to contest that zone for as long as they can and for them to die gloriously. And then also I have my demo corps, my big hammer bros, to go into that bottom zone to contest and kill whatever I can, because under feet they are pretty beefy. With that, I have Victor. He's a big beefy boy that is able to get in there and, well, actually not get in there. The whole point is for him to stay back for as long as possible and pick off convenience pieces like the Ancestral Guardian, the various novitiates, and things of that matter, as well as to pressure. My tankers are there to contest, and the strike tankers are there to help assist with taking out the Supreme Guardians. And those are my goals, really, for this deployment.
Alright, so I am deploying. So I feel mechanically advantaged in this match, and I've played Ant before, and I know Ant usually has a plan, which is probably more than I can say for myself. But generally I figured I have his defense is low, so my relatively mediocre accuracy isn't going to be an issue. I outnumber him, I out-armor him if I do the if I include feat turn. So all I really need to do is just outlast him and not get clocked and just clear some zones, because I've just got more models than he does. So general idea was to form 2 bubbles around the Supreme Guardians, get my Force Ores up, but there wasn't really even all that much shooting against me, so figured basically just close the distance as soon as I could and engage him, and then just play fast enough that I can kill his forces enough and score the zones. So obviously I need a unit for each of those, so 1 unit on the one side, 1 unit on the other. That was about it. Put my support solos, Agonizer, etc. in the appropriate locations. I'm not normally I might stagger my units to try and make it difficult for him to hit me without triggering Vengeance, but no need to do that with his shooting, so that was it.
So my turn 1 is filled with, you guess it, running. But really, my goal is to not only run, but position well, and then make advantages for myself, whether that is to pressure a certain amount of board space with the demo corps down below, and then use Victor to put him centrally so I can threaten very far with his gun for turn 2, put him in a good position to get the shock troopers in a position as well so that they can begin to contest and slowly try to outlast the grind that they're about to take part in, though I very much doubt. I doubted how long they'd last, especially against Immortals, but I was very surprised, and then I moved up all my tankers in sort of a aggressive posture to have them go in first, and that's about all I really want to do, is position best I can.
Oh boy, it's my turn. Alright, so I know he can out-threat me with his feet, and I figure his goal will probably just try and jam me because I think I'm mechanically advantaged in every other way. So I figure he'll try and smash a unit of Man Wars into me under feet, which was the only point where he actually out-threats me in melee, and then I won't be able to kill them very well because of the higher defense, armor, etc. So my goal is to throw some Immortals in the way of my Supreme Guardians, which is sort of how I play most of my games. They are basically there to jam so he doesn't get a charge of my Supreme Guardians. He kills enough of them, they move out of the way, and Supreme Guardians do all the work. So that's what I try to do. Keep Zaal and Hakaar center, and just make sure that I get my Supreme Guardians covered with good force auras, because he's got those siege weapon guns, which I don't care for one bit. So I know where I know I'm going to be in threat range with his graveyard guys anyway. So just throwing mortals in the way so that he can't get to my Supreme Guardians, that I get to move them up as far as I can, so that they can contest the zones and do the work they need to do. So I'm going to try and keep my Novitiates within 6 to give all my Immortals tough, so that their sacrificial play here won't make them all disappear. And then I'm fumbling with like a lot of measuring sticks, because I get nervous of that stuff sometimes. Move the Agonizers up, make sure they're in spots, and then I watched myself, and you're about to see it. I have no idea what to do with that Drake. He's new to the list, and I never really know what to do with him. He's supposed to be there to clear off jamming chaff from the Supreme Guardians, and I've just never had a chance to use him for that. So I fumble and fumble and fumble and wondering what to do, and like, I don't know, maybe he'll draw some attacks off, because he doesn't really serve a purpose in this game.
So going into my turn 2, I really looked at that Ancestral Guardian, because that is a big thing that allows me. If I can get rid of that, that lets me really push advantage in board space against him, because it kills a lot of his movement. And you see here, the first part of my turn is me determining whether or not I can kill it, and seeing what things I needed to vote to make sure I make that happen, because killing that is not only a good convenience piece, but it's it's almost like killing a solo for free. Well, it is killing a solo for free. It's very important as well. And then what I do in the rest of my turn here is I move up position, do the deadly dance of death that everyone has to do. But a big thing with Immortals that I have to make sure I don't proc is Vengeance, because then even without his additional speed from the Ancestral Guardian, I basically have now done negative work, because he still gets a 3-inch move, which will still let him threaten me, because I believe as we check through, I am just outside of charge ranges as long as I don't proc Vengeance, which is something that I do very well. And then I try and find ways to maximize my trades that will be happening in the next turns that follow. So, I'm gonna try and put my tankers where I can, so that when they eventually die, they're in spots that they have done enough work and at least put out enough damage that they can, when they're taken, they've already done a fair bit of work, so for it to be a worthwhile trade for me. My goal for the bottom zone is to concede most of it while still contesting it, and forcing him to either commit to jamming me out, or to force or give me vengeance so that I can wade through. This is also the turn he chooses to feed, so it's very key for me to not proc anything awful, because even with Vlad feed, I don't want to be giving out vengeance. I also don't want to be giving him souls, because then that allows him to threaten and put more jamming pieces further into my lines, which is the last thing I need. And then I position tankers around accordingly to provide jams, and also try and kill off whatever pieces I can take with little to no retribution the following turn, which I can only do so much, but I figure out what I can.
Alright. Yeah, that sucked. The Lucky Scatter killing my Ancestral Guardian, so I'm not going to even be able to get to him. My Immortals will do no work, because I'll never get the charge now. Not with their awesome 9-inch threat at that point, and he's not going to give me any vengeance moves. I didn't like that at all. So, crap. What do I do now? I'm just getting in their way, and the Supreme Guardian's going to have to do a lot of work, and I've got to make sure I don't end up clocking myself. I really messed up last turn, and I should not have gotten my one shield guard 3.5 inches away from my Ancestral Guardian. His dice spiked a little, but too much. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with the Drake, but I never do. And now I'm just trying to recover what I can, get stuff in the way. I don't have much I can actually hurt him with. So here, hey, my guys, I will put them in your way. Oh, they should be closer to you right now, but they're not. Yeah, even just going back at this game, many days later, I am so bothered by the scatter onto my Ancestral Guardian. Well, it wasn't a scatter, just the hits and the kills and my messing up the shield guard. So I figure I'll jam with the Guardian, with the Immortals once again, and let the Supreme Guardians do all the work. And that's it. Now the placement of the Agonizers actually matter. They need to be closer because I need to try and make sure my Immortals stay alive, as many of them as I can, because I'm going to have to do more work than I normally do. And I'm going to dig a car in there because I need every model to do the work now. Yeah. And there it looks like I have like a bit of a charge there, but I know I'm not going to do much with it. But, you know, I'm not going to not take it, of course. So, the few that can charge, the rest will jam, and then I'll make a nice wall for my Supreme Guardian. And I want to get some stuff around the other side of the wall, so that they can come in from the other side. I'm banking on being able to go incorporeal later to get that entire unit into that zone if I need to. Still don't have any great channel targets, so I'm keeping the channeler back there. I feel like, oh, wonderful place for me to hide my tough bubble right behind that wall. Should work out great. And now I'm just trying to figure out, I want to make sure that Zaal is placed right so I can get everybody up onto their feet, so I can have that nice +5 armor swing. After every game, everyone tells me I feat way too early, and maybe that was the case here. I don't know, but we'll see. Only problem is now he gets to play his feat into my Immortals if he wants, and won't really care about their armor 22 at that point, not with how high they're going to be. I've already done the math before the game, and I know if I let him get to the Supreme Guardians that under feat turn, even with the Agonizers there, his Man of Wars will go right through them. So that's that.
So here in my turn 3, he has run up and has decided to jam me with a bunch of high arm models. Two thoughts run through my head. First is do Khador things and try and smash my way through what I can and worry about the consequences later, or two, reposition best I can and kill off what convenience pieces are not affected by the feat. I do this with the strike tankers, I do this with the suppression tankers, and then I form 2 walls of steel with my demo corps and my shock troopers. Now this is important because he doesn't get an extra attack against me his following turn to help clear me out from whatever jams I want to do, but also I hold my feet because the last thing I want to do is use my feet into his feet, because I'm not doing very much work at all. I'm still at a 2-point deficit between my swing for power and his. So I'm not looking to kill, I am looking to simply take charges in the mouth the following turn, and hoping to use the natural survivability and durability that comes with the territory of playing Armored Core. So I reposition and I don't concede ground, but I don't gain any either. I concede a good chunk of the board space to him, but I do so in the hope to rapidly swing the attrition factor into my favor. My turn very quick. Just me here trying to kill one or two support models here and there. I believe I kill one novitiate, but I can't kill the other. This is me getting in the way like a big idiot. Oh, look at me, big idiot. Still standing there. Wow, I really stood in front of it for a while. I think I did this a couple times, and I apologize very much about it. I think at some point somebody yells at me, and I'm like, oh, look, we're both idiots. Oh wow, look at that, we come together. Back to being a normal person. I move. Oh, here it goes again. Nope. This is a lot of me just positioning guys and taking probably like an unnecessary amount of time to just stand in front of the camera and block your view, and also figure out to make sure I keep people within command ranges. So nothing exciting happens on this turn, but I'm hoping to get a lot of work out of the following turn with what models I have, make weird hand gestures, and also just stand in front of the camera and be a complete moron. I think, for here a little bit, I also oh, here it is, when I finally managed to get my bead on one of the novitiates and shoot the hell out of him with a suppression tanker. So, a couple exciting things. I managed to kill a few models that are of note. I also choose to not shoot any immortals with a POW 10 because I can't even damage them. So it'd be a ridiculous notion. And my whole goal and attempt with my shock troopers in that top zone is to just contest, which eventually I forget is the whole purpose for living for some unknown factor. It's because I'm an idiot, probably. You saw how many times I stood in front of the camera. But that is the summary of my turn 3. Just a whole lot of positioning, a whole lot of me walking in front of a camera, and attempting to figure out what I can shoot and what I can't shoot. I measure out trying to shoot the second novitiate, and this is where I fail miserably, and I get boosted POW 6, rat 6s against. I think he was defense 14, I think. So I need 8s on 3d6, and it's a POW 10. I managed to roll only 2 shots, so if I had rolled another one, it would have gone much better for me, but of course I can't, manage simple things.
Oh, no. Ant didn't feat. Oh gosh. Oh, I hate this turn. Every time this is always the turn of the game. It's like my turn, like where the meat happens, and I never know what to do. And you can see how that progresses here. So, I'm just trying to see where I stand after the maintenance phase and everything catching on fire and not dying or tough checking or whatever. And I'm doing the math in my head, and he still hasn't feated, but I realize between Sanguine Bond up and the other guys being in Shield Wall, the Supreme Guardians are not going to be able to do enough work by themselves. I need to get those Immortals in there to do just an extra bits of work. Well, sorry. To be clear, because the game, the goal is here to try and score both zones, basically as many zones as I can in his objective. And I come up with this great idea. And the great idea is, and you'll see it in action, is what if I kill my entire army? That way Ant can't claim the victory, because I will have done it for him. So, yeah, you're gonna see it. It was a fun turn, but more importantly, maximizing points or control points this turn. So, yeah. And there's part of me, you can see me, I'm taking this turn, but why? I don't want to kill all my own guys. Isn't there a better way? But eventually I come to the realization there is not. And I'm sure everyone at home knows there's a better way, but oh, once I get an idea in my head, I just have to follow through. Oh, God. Watching this again, just, it hurts my soul. It really does, what I'm about to do. Oh. Alright. Alright, so I've got to get that one unit all the way into the zone. So, yeah, you can see, like, oh crap, I can't, do the charges I want to. I've got to just make sure everybody ends in the zone. And I have to get them out of the way so the Supreme Guard can go up there and do his big Thresher idiocy and kill all my guys. So let's get some charges in there, do a little bit of work so the Supreme Guardian can actually make sure he gets everything done. And so I do. Hating what I'm about to do to myself, but doing it every day. They're in shield wall, so I don't expect to do a lot, but I'll get some chips in there, and that'll help. And the Supreme Guardian hopefully can do everything else. I've really only got, if I remember, to clear 3 models. But between shield wall, I'm not sure I'll be able to do it. You know, it never really occurred to me to do the math for. Usually, I try and do all my math ahead of the game. Like, what can his charges of my kill of mine, and what can't. But I didn't really think how many immortals it would take for me to kill things. Yeah, you can see me lining it up now. Oh, what a great idea! Why don't I kill all of my own guys? I thought. Oh, coming in for the real thing. And now the sweep. I've never wanted to roll worse in my entire life, and yet, oh, I rolled just great on my guys. Oh, yeah, I mean, his stuff wipes out just fine, and then my guys follow not far after. I hit everyone. Awesome. Why would I want to roll triple ones? Well, now I want to roll triple ones. At least some of them get some tough checks. And more importantly, I'll get that precious glowing control point. Oh, good. What a great job I've done. Yeah. Oh, look! The other side of the board. I need to score this. But how? And originally I'm thinking Supreme Guardian will come in there and sweep that entire side. But I'm not sure I can get everybody in. And that Victor will come right slamming into my Supreme Guardian afterwards. And I love those things like, well, like I should love my wife. But, you know, we're playing with painted little men instead. Alright, so yeah. Oh wait, I can jam! That's a thing I get to do because I'm playing infantry and it's so not normal for me. So yeah, I figure I'll throw those immortals in front of the Victor. And enough of them will be in there that, you know, he won't be able to charge through to my Supreme Guardian. My Supreme Guardian can swing to the right and take out the objective and those models, and I'll get 2 points all at once. And I'll leave the other side open because I'm not going to be able to clear it all anyway. But, you know, I'll put some models in there to contest, and hopefully that's enough. So the Immortals do their charge. They get some chip damage on the Victor, why not? I may put in some work on the Hammer Brothers. I can't remember if I do or don't, but I know I don't kill anything, so it doesn't really matter. And I leave the marker there so I can figure out where the Supreme Guardian must land, because I still have other work for other people to do, and I have to get people out of the way. Hakaar's going to come in. Hakaar's going to help. And Hakaar does. He always delivers. The beefy boy he is. Yep. Alright. One model done. I've only got a few models left to get rid of. Got to get Abidan out of the way. So Abidan gets out of the way. He probably could have done something effective there, but I decide, no, let's not do anything good. Let's just get him out of the way ineffectually. Oh. Yeah. These are things I did. And I'm trying to figure out a way to minimize the number of my own guys that I kill with my Thresher, but I realize that's not going to happen. Oh, yeah, let's commit. So Thresher happens, and look at me, hitting my own guys. Awesome. Great. At least I hit his too. And I sure do. Now, some of you may see this flaw in my plan. I didn't at the time, let me assure you. Those guys blocking the Victor, yeah, he can just trample. Because I'll be clearing a nice little spot for him. Well, look at me. I wouldn't want his aunt's own models to get in the way of his trample spot. Why would I do that? Crazy talk. So let me kill them all so I can get that precious control point. And I do. This seems cool. I got 3 control points. I haven't even clocked myself yet. I'm having a great time. So I throw the Drake up there to try and block. I'm like, oh, so he can't get in there or whatever. I don't know. I'm not really sure why I do the things that I do. Zaal, I'm worried about him being assassinated. So I kind of put him trying safe, camp him with Few Fury and put up Force Sword to try and keep the himself and Supreme Guardian and Hakaar alive. And then put the support solos where they need to be. Never did figure out what to do with that channeler guy, so he's just hiding behind things.
So here at the start of turn 4, you get to watch me lose so spectacularly. So let me show you, take you down this rabbit hole of doom. So it starts off really well. A lot of things in the game have gone awesome for me. My opponent decided to kill a bunch of his own dudes, which I thought was pretty metal, to be honest. Realistically, at the end of the day, he killed a lot of one unit, but overall, I think I still killed more models than his, but he still killed a very large sum of his own guys. I open up by spraying off a bunch of Immortals in order to free up my demo core, because I need them to kill the Supreme Guardian. But before I do even that, I also have to get a way to get Victor into that rectangular zone to contest. Now, unfortunately, as you'll see probably in the following turns, my opponent has given Zaal 2 a astronomically unreasonable amount of souls on Zaal 2. So I move Victor maybe a little bit further than I need to, but I didn't think, for the second time in my life, I didn't think someone could just pull off a Victor. Though he does take a defensive strike from a Supreme Guardian. But before I move into all of that, you see me make the mistake that loses me the match. You remember hearing me say at least twice that the shock troopers are there to contest that zone, and I hammer it into my head. And then in the turn where it's the most critical, I decide to leave them out of the zone. I don't even put them in another zone. I just leave them in between them, so that they're doing nothing more than be useless. Now, my entire goal about all of this was to hopefully try and kill off the entire unit so that he can't score. But also in doing so, I leave nothing out, and if I had just put a model into contest, then I may have simply just won the game, because after this, the attrition has swung so far into my favor that there was no way he could have come back, and I still had so many models left on the board that still did work and could still threaten the rest of them, that I would have been fine. Here, this is where you see Victor trample over a bunch of Immortals. I think I only hit like one, but I kill off a couple of them to reduce the number of free strikes I take on the way out. And I think I only kill one with the actual trample. So you see me dawdling my fingers around. Someone makes some obnoxious attack rolls, and then you watch. I believe Vlad feats and then threshers the last of the remaining Immortals to death, which is pretty sweet, because I barely ever get to do work with him. I also attempt to break my opponent's models, apparently, because I'm just a big klutz. I'm also crippled in part of this, so the reason why I also stand in front of the camera is because my right hand and my right arm and shoulder are rather weak. So you see me a lot of times just holding it at my side like I'm some kind of strange, I don't know. But yeah, that's also the main reason why, because I have to get real close, or else my arm just kind of droops down. This is Vlad walking up, doing man things, killing a bunch of dudes. Probably in a bad spot, but I think, what the hell? There's a lot of models between me and certain death, and then I block him up with a couple of medium bases. I have Eilish and the Adjunct to move about, trying to stay in spots to still be useful for me in the future, but also to allow me to not have them just get randomly killed by a spell that's just flung very far away. I also feat. Oh yeah, here's me again. I hope you like the view of my back. Isn't it such a great game board? I believe at some point someone yells at me. But yeah, this is me and my gimp arm trying to figure out how to do our lives. and up in that zone. It really, if you at this point, I figure out my ways to just kill the Supreme Guardian. I have trampled, I killed all those Immortals I need to. I think I wiped the Immortals to a man. And then after that, we figure out if I can get in there with as many demo core as possible. And then I think I kill the Supreme Guardian with 2, and then I put all the rest of my demo core in the zone itself. And I think at one point I had hoped to keep my demo core close enough to keep those models in the back in melee range after the Supreme Guardian was killed, but I don't think I ever actually measured it out, nor did I ever mention it. So once it happened, I realized I had goofed a second time in the game. Not saying that it would have helped much anyway, but...
Oh, this turn. So, remember last turn when I killed all of my own guys? Well, those soul tokens all went to Zaal. Partly because I didn't really know what else to do with them. Partly because there wasn't that many other places to put them. And yeah, I gave myself a crazy amount of souls. And I'm looking at this turn now, and I'm like, okay, well, it's 4-1, alright. But I've lost my Supreme Guardian, I'm not going to be able to kill that Victor. What do I do? What do I do? Wait a minute. Zaal is sitting on like 20 souls or something ridiculous. I only have to score 2 points. In the one zone, I'm already scoring for free because he couldn't kill that one lonely UA who's still part of the unit. So all I have to do is contest the other zone and bring Zaal in to do his dirty staff work. And I never, ever have had a chance to do anything like this before. I've never really had that many souls in Zaal before. And I've never, his own melee capacity has always never really been a factor in my games. But it will be in this one. So I put Hakaar up there and Abidan to get some hits, and then Zaal does his work, and all I have to do is just roll the dice fast enough before clocking, and then, because Zaal's sitting at PS16, and I have so many souls, I'll never run out. So I'm just throwing things away as fast as I can, and I kill him.
For my own thoughts, besides what could have may or may not have happened, what happened in this game, a lot of things went well and right for me, and a lot of metal things happened that also just happened to be in my favor as well. Overall, I felt good into the game. Overall, I felt not confident. I felt confident into the matchup because I've played it so many times, but also unsure about how much work I'd actually be able to, and if I was able to bait out a feat. The Ancestral Guardian, I think, really swung it in my favor in the beginning, and it really shows that as well as a great plan can go, if you don't follow it to the letter, it can lose you. Because if I had just kept to my shock troopers contesting a zone, I believe in this particular game I would have definitely been able to pull out the win. Just how spectacularly someone can rip defeat from the jaws of victory. So what really happened well was the convenience killing power that Victor brings to the table, and I have thought about replacing him, but he is just too good to give up in my opinion. He provides a lot of long-ranged accurate firepower, and you might say, oh well, he's only Rat 4. Well, if he stands still, you know, he becomes Rat 6. I can put Hand of Fate on him. I also have Puppet Master in the list, and I can boost the shot. So sure, at standing, at most times it'll probably be a Rat 4, but it'll be a boostable Hand of Fated with Puppet Master Rat 4 that is also a PAL 5 on a PAL 15 on a 5-inch template that can also light everything on fire, become a 5-inch template of rough terrain, or remove stealth and give +2 to hit, or a -2 defense, I believe is what Flare does. And it also has 2 big massive nibble guns that are great against models with flight, so you know, the new Archons, Harbinger, you know, any number of Everblight models, or War Beasts, and you know, whatever models have flight. Because of Flak Fire. The list itself is very survivable, very hardy. I enjoy it very much. This list is almost the exact same list I took to the Sioux this past year, where I also played against Brad Park. I am Brad's opponent, also known as SF. And in there, I also spectacularly lose. I was very drunk. Here, I'm just very dumb. But I managed to, playing this so much, I managed to just find my outs and play to the strengths of the list, which is having high average stats and pumping them up to 11 with Vlad. So then I have models that not only do work, but also models that are innately survivable. Now, it's not as survivable as, say, like a Warjack Brick, but it's the fact that it's deceptively more mobile and can take up more board space at almost the same points. Now, with this as well, this Khador has a lot of good fighting support pieces, where they give decent support, but also in themselves they are pretty potent platforms for death. Like I mentioned earlier, Manowar Kovnik's fantastic. Like, they have pretty decent, they've got 3 attacks going in. They have an assault shot, a shield, and an axe. They also have slam if I need to slam someone. They have a really high mat. They're also 4 points, and they give desperate pace. So, once everything's said and done, it's, if, they can lend an axe. I have 2 of those in this list. I also, the Adjunct gives magic weapons and eyeless sight to, obviously, Victor, maybe a strike tanker if I need it. He's very useful. Also gives Vlad 2 free upkeeps a turn because he himself has great power, and he's just an amazing piece. Also, with the ability to +2 to spell range, I can sit Vlad a little bit further back and not have to worry about putting him up front or worry about positioning less, because give myself more leeway with positioning because I have longer spell ranges with Hand of Fate and whatnot. And then Eilish gives Puppet Master and the ability to punish spellcasting. Not negate so much, but punish spellcasting and remove upkeeps, which is something the list has sorely lacked in the last year and change I've played it. It has sorely lacked any sort of spell defense of any kind. But yeah, my name is Anthony Minerva. I am from the Mark Howard Dojo, and thank you for watching my spectacular loss.